Okay, we're loaded up and ready to go for another weekend getaway.
But it's Friday. Friday morning.
Friday morning. Well, we got off early. Well, we took off the whole day, didn't we?
We're going a ways away, though, aren't we?
I don't know where we're going because you're driving. So where are we going?
Robertsville State Park. We'll see you when we get there.
All right. See you there.
Robertsville is a fairly small campground with only 25 sites, of which 13 have 30 amp electricity. There are no 50 amp sites. We camped at Site 23, which is a beautiful electric site on the inside loop with plenty of shade. This cost $23 a night plus $8.50 reservation fee. The best part about this site is that the pad, picnic table, and fire pit are nice and level. The site, like most of the sites at Robertsville State Park, have plenty of seclusion for the rest of the sites. Site 9 on the outside loop is one of 4 basic campsites that has a 16 by 16 wooden platform to pitch your tent on.
All right, we're at the public use area at Robertsville State Park,
where they have lots of picnic tables, and tonight, right where we're sitting, they're going to have a bonfire and a butterfly demonstration. So we're interested in that. There's also a wonderful playground for the kids.
and looks like there's quite a few tables, picnic tables outside of the shelter area with shade trees, and I think there's what it looks like they had barbecue grills at each one of them. Plus, what you said, there's a nice couple real big barbecue grills here at this couple little tables. Pavilions. There's 2 big pavilions that probably hold 50 to maybe 75 people in the shelter. So it's a really nice area down here. A big parking lot, a nice little handicapped access to playground and to the public use area shelter houses. So, all right, here we are at the second day use area at Robertsville State Park. This is actually also the river access to the Merrimack River, where they have a public boat ramp.
On the way to Robertsville, we stopped off in Herman, Missouri for a quick break and purchased some bratwurst. After a short visit in this historic small town along the southern banks of the Missouri River, we are already planning to return to Herman for a future weekend getaway.
All right, we're ready to cook Friday night supper. We're going to cook up the brats that we picked up in Herman. They have probably at least 40 different varieties. Tonight we're cooking the jalapeno and peach bratwurst. These are pre-cooked. Looks like they're going to be good.
No camping experience is complete without fresh ground coffee. We happen to like CMMG Full Auto. Okay.
Fresh ground coffee makes the best cowboy coffee. Grind it every morning is that much more fresher.
Well, honey, what's for breakfast this morning?
Well, you know, we already got the coffee going. That's the most
Yeah, it's over there.
So it's on there getting heated
It's on a flue. We'll show you here in a minute.
And so now we're going to have to do our biscuits for our biscuits and gravy. So we're going to do homemade biscuits, of course. So let's get out the ingredients.
It's not my recipe. It's his mom's recipe.
We have a dry ingredient premix.
Stop a minute. That's our tip of the week. If you put your dry ingredients in a Ziploc bag, then you won't have to do the measuring out here, and it's kind of like having a box meal, only homemade.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's right down. You right away I did. I wrote down on It's 3-cup biscuit recipe because we make different sizes for different crowds. And in this case, if you don't want to even have to worry about bringing a recipe, if you don't remember it, you can just write on there what it says. In this case,
what you need, what you still need in there.
What's on this recipe? It's real easy. What?
It says 1 cup of milk and a half cup of oil.
Okay, so we're gonna have to have oil. We're just using vegetable oil. You can use canola, corn, any of that kind of oil. We're not prejudiced on that.
I wouldn't suggest olive oil though for biscuits.
It might be. So you might try that with something else. And we're using evaporated milk. It's shelf stable. We don't have to worry about bringing regular milk. And it's only a cup that we use in this, but this is extra, so we can put that with coffee. We won't let that go to waste. So we got that. All right. All right, I've added my dry ingredients to my mixing bowl, which is basically a real simple. This is an easy recipe anyway. It's flour, baking powder, and salt. Okay, I added my wet ingredients together in here, which was my oil and my milk. So we're going to go ahead and incorporate that right now. All right, now that my wet ingredients and dry ingredients have been mixed together, I'm going to stop because, as you can see, we don't want to overmix our biscuit, because just like any biscuit recipe, if you overmix it, you're going to have a tough biscuit every time. All right, now we're going to add our biscuit mix to our Dutch oven. We're using a 10-inch deep Dutch oven today. I'll go ahead and add it to here. And one nice thing that we do that's kind of handy by putting it in this 10-inch and just adding it to the Dutch oven without rolling it out like normal, is just, one, you save a little time, plus you can get a bigger batch of biscuit in a smaller Dutch oven. So you could, of course, use a 12-inch Dutch oven. Go ahead and roll this out on your cutting board, or put it between 2 pieces of wax paper, roll it out to about a 1/2 inch thick, and then cut it with your biscuit cutter and make nice pretty biscuits. But a lot of times you want to save time, and you can do it this way. As you can see here, we have our biscuit dumped in, and all we need to do now is just use your fingers. There's just enough oil in this biscuit recipe so that you can just pat it in. You don't have to have any extra flour. That's kind of handy, because especially when you're outside wanting to cook like this, that flour sometimes just goes everywhere, and you have a pretty big mess with wearing half of your flour that you're trying to do. So we'll get it all packed in the bottom as even as we can. Now I'm going to just use this little plastic spatula and score these biscuits, so that way when they are baked, we can kind of be easier to take them out of the Dutch oven and have pretty nice even looking biscuits, even though they're not going to be round biscuits, but they're going to be square. But when you get them all made, you cover them up with gravy, they're going to taste the same. Alright, biscuits are in the Dutch oven. It's time to get them cooking. Got charcoal ready. We're going to start by getting my tongs out. Real handy for handling this charcoal. We'll carefully dump these out. I would just dump them out on top to start with. Pretty handy. And then we'll start going around the bottom and putting our charcoal on the bottom. Now we're using a total of 28 pieces of charcoal. That gives us probably about a 400 degree oven. Now the idea, of course, with this is, if you kind of do a little quick math, this is a 10-inch Dutch oven. If you double that, you have 20 inches, or 20, and that gives you a 20 count for baking of charcoal will give you about a 325 degree oven. In this case, if you add another about 2 to 3 pieces of charcoal, you gain another 25 degrees, and plus we have a deep Dutch oven instead of a shallow, so we got a little bit more air that we need to heat up. So in turn, long story short, we're going to end up with about 28 pieces of charcoal. We put 9 on the bottom and the rest on top. And we're going to set our timer for 10 minutes. We're going to come back and rotate our oven.
Now, honey, I got a question for you.
What's that?
You talked about tongs.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some equipment that you need to have to Dutch oven cook that's the absolute minimum to get started Dutch oven cooking?
Well, mainly besides some workstation or some type of thing to put it on that's
like this
fireproof.
Table here.
Yeah, if you had a good something fireproof, you can do it on concrete or something on if you had to, or some type of a metal plate. But yeah, you definitely need your tongs to handle the hot coals. Of course, my gloves. I got warm insulated leather gloves so don't get burnt. And then we're gonna have, this is a lid lifter, and I'll show you how to use that here. That's kind of really handy too to handle your Dutch ovens while they're hot.
What about for cleaning them off?
Well, I have here handy a broom, which you can just use once you get the charcoal off and you don't have, this will burn of course, so you want to get all the charcoal dumped off extra, and then you just whisk it off.
Including most of the red ashes, and a little broom or scrub brush to clean it out with when you're done cooking.
Inside. This works pretty good for scraping out, cleaning out the inside of your Dutch oven. Wait a minute. It's not right yet. Alright, you just heard the timer go off. It's been 10 minutes, and we're going to rotate the oven. The idea of rotating the oven is to keep an even cooking and browning process throughout the baking process. Excuse me. So be rotated a third of a turn one way. Now we're going to take the lid and go a third of a turn in the opposite direction. Now we know it's not done because it's only been cooking for 10 minutes, so there's no need in taking the lid off because that's just going to let out all that good, nice heat in there, and it's going to prolong the cooking time. So we'll come back 10 more minutes and rotate it again. Okay. Wait a minute. It's not right yet. All right, guys, the biscuits are ready. We're going to switch gears because it's always Angel's job to make the gravy.
Go ahead and take them off. After making a simple roux of oil and flour, adding salt and pepper to taste, you add your milk. We are using canned milk again because it's shelf stable. Once this is done, you just cook it until it's bubbly and it's time to eat. I proclaim them perfect.
Well, it's good coffee, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
First time we tried that brand. So, are you full?
Uh-huh.
I am. That biscuits and gravy fills you up. I tell you what, that's some good stuff. And I don't know, I hope you all liked the demo that we did on biscuits and gravy. What do you think? I think it's almost just as simple.
It's actually as easy as cooking inside. Anything you cook inside on your stove or in your oven, you can cook in a Dutch oven.
And you can tell that this biscuit, when we made the premix especially, the dry ingredients mixed up ahead of time, and you just added just the milk and the oil, that it's not hardly any harder than opening a can or using some other type of
a bag, Bisquick, or
premix. And they're good.
There's nothing wrong with them, but we like the homemade better.
But these are even better, and the gravy is real good. The way you just did, cook your sausage and add some oil and flour and some salt and pepper and milk.
Just like homemade, it was a little thick, but oh well.
Well, we used canned milk because we didn't want to take up a lot of cooler space by bringing in regular milk, so we probably could have had a little bit more milk in it, but that's all right. Well, it all tasted good, and we hope you enjoyed the demo part, and we'll go from there, and we'll see you here in a little bit.
Next, we visited the Roberts family cemetery. The trail to the cemetery is 3/10 of a mile, and it's a very nice trail until you get about halfway through. We passed through this beautiful field of natural prairie, and like you see, it's a mowed trail. And then we come across this. They had been some reviews that talked about how swampy it was. Well, now it's a pretty rocky. You come to a clearing, and there's the cemetery. Buried here are James E. Roberts and Mary F. Roberts. James was the person that Robertsville was named after, who owned 3,000 acres. Also buried here are some other family members.
Well, after that big full breakfast, we figured out we better go out and take us a little hike.
So we're doing this Spice Bush Trail. It says it's a 0.8 of a mile, and it'd take us 35 minutes. That's just a nice stretch of the legs.
All right, we'll see you. Let's go. Much water is there? Yeah, no water.
Ooh, that feels funny. Music is gonna fall through. Well, as you can see, that was just a little wet. My hair will take 5 years to dry. It was a nice trail, though. Like to see it again, and they were right. It was about 35 minutes.
Yeah, we had to stop a little bit to take one break and then do a little bit of our video, and we might have made it back in time without getting as wet if we hadn't stopped for that. But
Yeah.
We wanted to get some footage for you, and it's a really nice trail. If it was been sunny, it was a lot of shade, so that was really nice. Wasn't too awful bad. It was with 3 bridges that are easy and a couple of uphill, downhill grades.
Now,
not
two
bad.
of them have this mesh in there, and I didn't like the feel of it underneath my feet.
And it wasn't going anywhere. One
Well,
of
I
them,
don't care. It still felt like it was.
but yeah, and now if it rains very little bit, like it might do, it might be pretty wet and kind of slick and slimy. But we got out of it before it got very wet, and it was pretty good and dry then. And none of the streams that we crossed over had any water in them. So, but it was still a really nice trail. A lot of woods. We're not for sure. We took a photo of one of the bushes, but we're not for sure if it is a spice bush or not. So we'll pop up a photo of that, and you can send us back a reply if
What you think
yeah,
it is.
if
'Cause
that's-
we're curious.
we don't know if we're right or not, but let us know if you know more about it. All right. Well, we're going to probably go and carry on somewhere else. Maybe we'll quit right in here in a little bit.
Bye.
We went to the little town of Pacific, Missouri.
to get onion and some other supplies. I forgot the onion for lunch today.
And some ice. We had to have
Yeah,
more
we
ice.
had to have more ice. And we come across this cute little park. It says it's A.D.A.M's garden, but back over here, we've got pictures of caves. We don't know what this is about. So we're going to figure out, do some research and find out what all this means.
It's a pretty nice little park, little waterfall, and a couple of things.
And the downtown area is just as cute as it can be.
Yeah, this is just right along the south edge of Interstate 44.
And I think it's 66 highway.
Yeah, it's part of the Route 66 highway trail too, looks like, from what the sign said.
Nice little town. Well, yesterday afternoon when we were at the pavilion or day use area, I mistook the date for the come and get it butterfly thing that we were talking about.
So it's Saturday night evening now, and we're going to head over there. Yeah, that's the come and get it's the title of it. And it's basically, it says, do you want to attract more butterflies and other Missouri pollinators into your backyard? So this sounds interesting. We're going to check it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Hey you, psst, down here. That's right, I'm a plant and I'm talking to you. So, bud out, okay? We use our flowers to talk to the animals. Why? Well, we need some help down here. What would you do if your legs were stuck in the ground for your entire life? Other animals to support the habitat and provide food. So we're going to find out what is a pollinator. Well, a pollinator is anything that helps carry pollen from one part, the male part of the flower, to the female part of the same or a different flower.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
It's Sunday morning. We're all packed up, getting ready to go home. We just wanted to let you know a couple things that happened last night. That Come and Get It show.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I originally thought it was going to happen on Sunday or Friday. It happened last night. And boy, that was the most informative thing I think we've ever.
Yeah, it was.
It was a lot of fun.
Time we got done with it, it was back to camp. It was getting pretty dark, so we didn't want to try to run any video then. But what do you think was the most interesting part of that we didn't expect from something about butterflies? We thought.
Well, it wasn't just about butterflies.
No, it wasn't.
Bats are pollinators.
Yeah, I never even thought about it. What kind of flowers do they like?
White, because it's at night.
Yeah, and I didn't realize that different pollinators like different color flowers.
It explains my lodge shirts, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
And the thing I probably thought was the most interesting was that, of course, we all know about bees being pollinators, and they would, like 75% of the pollination in the United States is all from bees.
Yes.
For all the plants and
But it's not honeybees.
crops and things. Yeah,
It
no,
wasn't
it's
honeybees.
no, it's all kinds of bees.
The honeybees aren't even native to the United States.
Yeah, that was neat because they said, I guess it was the Europeans brought honey bees with them because they needed the wax for candles, and that was the primary purpose for bringing the honeybees to the United States. So that was really interesting.
You know, the program was geared toward kids, but I'll tell you what, as adults, we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think one other interesting thing was all of those you people that grow tomatoes don't run away the bumblebees because bumblebees are the only bee, or one of the few bees maybe, that's big enough to actually get inside there and
Tomato
bloom,
plants,
and
yes.
then when their wings go and then they knock the pollen loose.
Uh-huh.
And honeybee and some of them small bees aren't big enough to do that, so you got to have a bumblebee to make them pollinate. So don't run the bumblebees away from your tomato plants.
So, well, that's it for us on this weekend getaway. We planned on cooking some breakfast here, but we decided we'd go to where we bought our bratwurst from Friday and eat an all-you-can-eat breakfast.
Up at Herman. That ought to be pretty good.
So, look for us again. If you like this video, please subscribe and like, and we'll see you on our next weekend getaway.
Yep, we're ready for another one. Thanks for joining us.